Welcome to Decouple China Radio Daily News Recap for June 25th, 2021, a production of Decouple China PAC. I'm your host, Paul Boardman. You can find Decouple China PAC, including these daily news updates from around the world, at decouplecchina.org. As background, Decouple China PAC is a U.S. political action committee whose stated public policy goal is the 100% decoupling of the United States from the China CCP. This is total decoupling that includes trade, banning China purchases of U.S. companies and U.S. land. Decouple China PAC stands for banning investment in China-owned companies and more. In addition, Decouple China PAC supports rebuilding USA with a manufacturing policy that onshores the many security vital industries that China stole from the U.S. through illegal global trade practices. The purpose of this daily briefing is to demonstrate China's methods to American voters so that we can identify and combat them as they happen in USA. I hope this is helpful to our American voters in their quest to understand the underworld syndicate or racket that is called China, unfortunately controlled by the Chinese Communist Party. As additional background, there is a debate as to whether the CCP is actually communist. China does not have the social programs associated with communism. The CCP does have the last word in China on everything, including regulation of their so-called business enterprises. The CCP seems to offer the world a carrot, an illusion of prosperity. Their stick is trafficking in anarchy, confusion, social unrest, strife, turmoil, and controversy. Methods, or modus operandi, or MO, include every aspect of warfare possible, including drug, loan sharking, propaganda, and cyber, to name just a few. They traffic in addiction. Nothing is off the table with the CCP. If you're working with China, you support slavery, sex trafficking, and harvesting of live human body parts. Everything, and I mean everything, is a commodity to monetize, control, and influence for the CCP. Is it a fascist state? I think so. It is clear China is the first country to wage a total war of domination and control, using all sinister influence methods of the lowest nature the world has ever seen. It is clear that their goal is to destroy the free world and replace it with their friends. Note, China's only official ally is North Korea. Their friends are Russia, Pakistan, and Iran. We must come to no other conclusion that China offers only an illusion of prosperity. The company China keeps tells us what they want for the United States and the free world. How do I demonstrate China's MO on a daily basis so that Americans can begin in earnest to decouple from China? I believe that by seeing China's methods across the globe on a daily basis, the urgency of decoupling from China now will become clear to our American voters, and we can break the lock that the glimmer of China prosperity has on some Americans. We can end our dependency on China and rebuild American-based ingenuity and prosperity. Boycott Chinese products. Write your elected officials. Demand 100% decoupling from China. Decouple China PAC offers an opportunity to commit to a 100% decouple from China policy. Support Decouple China PAC at decouplecchina.org by making a donation or write your congressman. Now, the published June 25th, 2021 China news from around the world. The Atlantic. How the Afghanistan withdrawal costs the U.S. with China. The benefits of the withdrawal in terms of promoting competitiveness with China aren't as compelling as they seem. Fox News. Representative Ann Wagner. COVID and China. I wanted to hold China accountable. Dems blocked my plan. I'm trying again. I introduced the Compensation for Americans Act last Congress, but the Democrats decided it was not a priority and blocked it from a vote. I introduced legislation to hold China accountable by freezing assets and sanctioning Communist Party officials. CNN Business. In China, the media doesn't hold the powerful accountable. It ensures those in power hold onto it. For a large, supposedly all-powerful authoritarian state, a tabloid newspaper with a daily circulation of just 100,000 copies most likely wouldn't pose any serious challenge to its rule. But for China's ruling Communist Party, even that is seen as too much of a threat. This week, Hong Kong's largest and loudest pro-democracy tabloid, Apple Daily, was shuttered under pressure from the government. ABC News. China slams U.S. curbs on solar materials as economic attack. China has criticized U.S. curbs on imports of solar panel materials that might be made with forced labor as an attack on its development, and said Beijing will protect Chinese companies, but gave no details of possible retaliation. Wall Street Journal. Nike gets along fine without China for now. Soaring North American sales more than offset social media backlash against Nike in China, but that won't be the case forever. The Guardian. Russia and China team up to build a moon-based International Lunar Research Station. It's intended to be ready for crewed visits by 2036. Foreign policy. Italy has learned a tough lesson on China. Old Western alliances are back on the table after a 2019 deal failed. Bloomberg. China crushed Jack Ma and his fintech rivals. Next, Ant lost at least $70 billion in value since its scuttled IPO. And companies from Tencent to JD.com are under pressure. 2. The winners? The country's state-backed banks. CNBC. Global capital continues to flow into China despite U.S.-China tensions. Reuters. Chinese battery investment in France to create 1,000 jobs. Reuters. S&P affirms China ratings, says China to maintain robust growth. S&P Global Ratings said on Friday that it affirmed China's ratings at A+, A-1, with a stable outlook. Reuters. China's Bitmain suspends sales of crypto mining machines after Beijing's mining ban. The New York Times. France and U.S. agree on the perils of a rising China. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, speaking in an interview after a meeting with President Emmanuel Macron of France, said the United States and France were on the same page in their determination to resist the possibility of a Chinese-led world order. South China Morning Post. 6 reasons Africa finds China attractive, and Western criticism of its relationship unjust. Newsweek. China says U.S. doesn't care about Xinjiang people, wants to suppress region's development. The Examiner. Biden is right to break a little China. Despite President Joe Biden's foreign policy weaknesses and blind spots with regard to Russia, Iran, and elsewhere, his administration admirably continues acting with at least some clear-eyed strength against some of Communist China's assaults on human decency. 3 times in the past week, the Biden team has shown some welcome gumption against China. The first 2 steps were sea-based, challenging China's illegal and belligerent claims to sovereignty over the South China Sea and the Taiwan Strait. The Navy has sent the USS Ronald Reagan aircraft carrier group and the guided missile destroyer USS Curtis Wilbur in separate transits of those international waters. The 3rd step came Thursday, when the administration announced various penalties against companies believed to be using forced labor in China's Xinjiang region to produce raw materials for solar panels. Fox News. Chinese Communist Party condemned by bipartisan U.S. Congress resolution for 100 years of human rights abuses. Led by Wisconsin Republican Mike Gallagher, co-sponsored by Republican Michael McCaul, Elise Stefanik, and Brian Fitzpatrick. 3 Democratic House members signed on to the bill: Ruben Gallego, Josh Gottheimer, and Jared Golden. Reuters. Tesla recalls vehicles in China for online software update. South China Morning Post. Mainland China and Taiwan propel semiconductor investment frenzy as Singapore and Japan join the game. The massive investment in chip manufacturing in Asia comes amid a global supply shortage due to rising demand for chips to power 5G devices and smart vehicles. Newsweek. China's rapid military evolution shocking, says senior NATO officer. Reuters. UN rights boss signals she may move on Xinjiang without China nod. The United Nations human rights chief should document her own findings on the plight of Uyghurs in Xinjiang, even without China's blessing for a visit, activists and Western diplomats say, amid signs that her patience may be running out. South China Morning Post. Chinese military steps up training along disputed Indian border. South China Morning Post. China-Australia relations. Long list of claims may follow Beijing's unprecedented World Trade Organization complaint. South China Morning Post. Anthony Blinken does not plan to meet China's foreign minister at G20 session next week. Wall Street Journal. U.S. and Taiwan set date to revive trade and investment talks. Taiwan News. Taiwan's United Biomedical expected to make COVID vaccine announcement. Deccan Herald. On way back from South China Sea, U.S. Navy's Ronald Reagan Carrier Strike Group holds drills with India's warships and fighter jets. Thank you for listening to Decouple China Radio's daily China news recap from around the world with your host, Paul Boardman. A list of these publications and broadcasts can be found at decouplecchina.org.